Karron Wilson, and I am proud to be your president for a few more hours this year. A few more minutes, actually. If I could have Charlie Baker, Phil Baker, and Dennis Pepin come forward. Now, it looks like I don't have everyone here. Would you look at the attendance for me, Barbara? Charlie and Phil Baker. Right here. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Come on over. And then, looks like Ron, I'm going to call you in for one last time to fill in for me for the invocation, if you would.
Step back.
Will you join me as we pray? Gracious and loving God, we give you thanks for this day and for the privilege of being in this place. We give you thanks for this organization, Rotary International, which puts service above self. We give you thanks for the food which we consume for the nourishment of our physical bodies as we strive to do your work and will. We give you thanks for the leadership of our club as we go through this transition. We thank you for blessing us this year with Karron and her team. And we look forward with great anticipation to the year ahead. All these things we ask in the name of your Son. Amen. Amen.
I wanted to make a comment since next week is the 4th of July. You know, actually the 4th of July was approved by Congress in 1776. And but it did not become a national holiday until the 1870s. But anyway, I think it's appropriate for our Pledge of Allegiance to know how long we've had that. And the first pledge, or they call it an oath at that time, was written during the Civil War. And it went through a lot of changes and so forth. And in 1932, they came up with the one that we presently use. And it was officially approved in 1945. And then in 54 it was changed by adding under God. So with that interesting facts, you can impress your neighbors next week. So if you'll, with me, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I got to keep on the tradition of the lawyerly speeches here. Anyway, milestones. Remember birthdays. Bill Connor. Did I see Bill here today? He escaped. Brian Jameson. Stephen Benoit. Nobody today. That was only one yesterday. Spouse's birthday. Ron Barrick's wife Cheryl, June 29th. Vicky Jackomick's husband John, June 30th. Henry Hughes' wife and new mother, Mary Gond, June 5th. And Glenn Towery's wife, Juanita, July 7th. Well, that was July 5th. Not sure. Anniversaries. George and Kim Oregon, 14 years, June 2nd. Michelle and Justin Marshall, July 6th. We're stuck in June here. Club anniversaries. Oh my God, this guy's been around a long time. Ken Petit, 39 years. June 30th. Fred Brent, 8 years, July 1st. Alan Johnson, 13 years, July 1st. Rhonda Pritchard, 1 year, July 6th. And Rodney Burke, 13 years, July 7th. Salute.
Okay, if you brought a guest today, would you please stand and introduce your guest?
Steve Dooley visiting from Sun City.
Okay, thank you all. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to kind of give you an idea of what today's program is going to look like. We're going to start off with Georgianne Hewitt. She has some forms on the table she's going to tell you about, kind of get some feedback from you all. Then we're going to hear from some of our program leaders over the last year and recognize them for their service above self, followed by the installation of officers. Well, actually, we're going to thank all of our outgoing officers and then installation of the incoming officers. And then I will turn the program over to George Lourigan, who will wrap it up for us. So to start out, if Georgianne, would you come forward and tell us what you have in mind?
Good afternoon. So in the spirit of looking back, as we look forward, on your tables, you'll find a sheet that has a long list. And that long list is a list of the 2018-2019 programs that were presented here at Rotary throughout the year. Now, there's lots of other meeting dates that you will see, oh, it skips a few dates. Well, anytime we had like the district governor visit, or we did a kickoff for Field of Honor, or we were doing Paul Harris, I have not listed those, but all the other programs are listed here with the speaker. And starting July 1, Nathan Winstead, who is our president nominee, will be heading up programs for the next Rotary year. Many of you remember, if you were at the golf tournament when we had the meeting out at the golf course, we talked a little bit about how we select programs. And it is we're rotating through the Rotary membership, and you will be contacted when your name comes up to suggest a program. Sometimes we have a little bit of coordination that's required. Somebody can't come one week but can come another week, and so there's a little bit of moving pieces around. But for the most part, we rotate through the membership, and we have these other Rotary events throughout the year, like when the Australian students come, when we do the scholarship lunches, when we do our Christmas event for the children's, the Baptist Children's Home. So what I'd like for you to do with this sheet is to select, and I'm sorry I forgot to put pens out on the table, but I think some of you have pens, and if you're willing to share around the table, that would be great. Pick your top 5 programs, and it doesn't have to be for any particular reason, just the top 5 programs that you enjoy the most. And what I'm going to do is collect these at the end of today. You either may leave them on your table completed, or you can hand them to me, or you can hand them to Nathan, or if you are walking out the door with it, you're certainly welcome to lay it down on the table there where Barbara is seated. And if you'll pick your top 5, we'll kind of calculate those, and this will give Nathan a sense of the kinds of programs that you all like to have come to Rotary, and that should be very, very helpful. If you have, now we did this at the golf tournament, the day we had the meeting out there, if you have a program you want to suggest, one of the things that we do is if a Rotarian, if they're coming up in the rotation and they have no idea of what kind of program they want to suggest, we often will suggest a list that's based on referrals that we receive. So if you have a program that you want to suggest, you're certainly welcome to write it on the back. It doesn't mean that it'll get selected, but we can offer that as a potential program. So that's it. Thank you so very much.
Okay, I want to take a moment just to thank all of you for your encouragement, for your friendship, for your fellowship, and you've made the year a pleasure for me. It's wonderful to walk in here and see all your friendly faces. So hats off to you for a very successful year. This certainly was nothing that just a president does. It's done with an entire group of wonderful people that do the programming and the fundraising and all of the other administrative work that has to happen. So I wanted to make sure that we recognize those leaders today. So I've asked a few of our program leaders to give a brief overview of their year to share with you guys, because I don't know if you always know the things that are going on in the background. These people are working hard. So I have asked to start with Myra. She's going to talk to us a little bit about club administration, and then we'll move on through the list, and each one will give us about 1 to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I've often been told, boy, you sure look busy, but I have no idea what you're doing. Most of what I do is done in the background. You see me running around a lot with microphones and AV, but there's a lot of things that I do. I've been on the board for 12 years as the club administration director, and every year is a little different what I have to do, because it all kind of depends on what the board and the president needs me to do. So sometimes it changes, sometimes it doesn't. But in this past year, I coordinated the volunteers for the Texas Ramp Project. We had 11 builds. We spent approximately 400 volunteer hours building wheelchair ramps in Williamson County for handicapped people in need. I want to say a special thanks to Larry Baer. He actually organizes 6 to 8 groups of builders and their builds each month. He's a true hero and exemplifies service above self. Also, I want to thank George Lourigan, who is our lead builder. We have a couple of assistant lead builders, Chris Cash and Bill Connor. And this past year, Dennis Pepin and Henry Yu, they showed up just about every single month, and they've become quite experienced. In fact, Dennis got a whole set of tools from George because he worked so hard at these ramp builds. So. Hand-me-downs. We had the Christmas program in December. I coordinated this program every year for the last 12 years or so. We adopted a cabin of boys from the Texas Baptist Children's Home, invited them here for the Christmas party and gave them gifts and gifts to their parents. We had a special appearance by Santa Claus and the Georgetown High School show choir. I want to give special thanks to Danny Swafford, who is our Santa every year, and he also coordinates the choir. Getting the choir here. Barbara Garland, who always shops. Every year she helps shop for those kids. And she also hosts the wrapping party. And Elizabeth McFarland, she always helps shop. And Jeanette Harrington always helps decorate and wrap gifts, and we just love her to death. We also had a $1,000 grant from Allstate Insurance through the Brian Jameson Agency. And that was used for the Wallet Billfold program that we used to purchase wallets and billfolds for at-risk teenagers. Special thanks to Laura Antoine, who coordinates that program, and to Paula Brandt, who actually goes and buys all those wallets for us every year. So thank you very much. And in addition, we purchased poinsettias for Brookwood and Georgetown to help decorate and to support them. The next thing is the greater giving software that I use. I track and report the sales and set up the registration and table arrangements for the Patriots Ball. I also set up the online purchase websites, and I want to thank all the volunteers who help me with registration. I usually get about 12 people to help with registration the night of the ball, and everybody works really hard to make sure that we get everybody checked in. I track and report sales and set up the purchase websites for the Field of Honor flag sales, then the golf tournament, and then at the end of every event, I reconcile with the club secretary, Carol Hardy, and treasurer Ron Barrett to make sure all sales and donations are collected and accounted for. And this process takes me about 500 hours a year, so it's a lot of work behind that. A lot of people don't realize it. I also have done some bereavement, where we send cards and flowers to people who lose close relatives. And then we also, I coordinate and help train people for audiovisual. Since the church finally replaced the projectors and the screens, or the projectors and the computer. We have actually had pretty good luck here since then. So I know at the beginning of the year, y'all were all like, oh my God, are we going to have sound today? But that has gotten way better since they've upgraded the system. So I want to give a shout out to my partners, Brad Curley and Hector Martinez. Between the three of us, we always seem to have at least some kind of sound. And my plans for next year will be to continue doing these things. Thank you very much.
See what I mean, you guys? Nobody has any idea. That woman is very, very busy. But I've got to say, I did not know Danny was Santa Claus. Oh, okay, you know, gotta grow up sometime, I guess. I don't know. Dennis is crying over here. He was really upset about that. Okay, now I'd like to invite George Oliver to come up and give the membership update. David is out of town, so George is going to fill in for him.
Thank you, Karen. David did a good job with the membership committee this past year. I worked with him on it. As you can see, there's one of the difficult things in a club that overall is struggling to maintain membership. We did maintain our membership levels. We actually only had a net drop of one club member, and that, believe it or not, is after there were 5 terminations done this month. So we still only lost one member. So that's very good. I would say that's membership retention, and I give David the credit for that. We also, during the year, initiated what came to be known as the Family of Rotary program. That's where we kind of monitor attendance. We stay in touch with people who have been absent repeatedly to both remind them that we miss them at the meetings and that, you know, we're a club of caring people. There's a lot of resources and a lot of goodwill here. If someone needs some help, if they've missed meetings for a reason, there's people there we can share that concern with and bring some resources to bear. So that's part of the Family of Rotary, which will be continued into next year. And then, of course, we also, Allison McKee was a part of the department, or the committee, and she did a very good job of organizing socials throughout the year, which is not easy. You have to be detail-oriented, and you have to have the right spirit, and Allison was absolutely the right person for the job. She's going to continue on into that for next year, I'm pleased to say. We've also added Jerry Parker to the membership committee for this year. His duties are to be determined, so we'll see how he fits in and what he wants to do. We also, just as a side note, speaking of membership, we have 4 individuals who have submitted their applications and are pending board review and initiation, so we're off to a fast start for this coming year. Thank you.
Very busy. that group of folks has really done a lot of new things this year, and we appreciate that. Next is Dennis Beppin to talk to us about public relations.
Well, the most obvious manifestation of what we've done all year, you're wearing on your chest now. We've completed the badge project. Next month, officially, you won't have to sign in anymore, but I caution you that if you don't get scanned every week, you will not be counted. But delighted to get that project finally done. We've had continual updating of our website. Brian has changed formatting on it, and we've added content to it on a regular basis, and it always is a work in progress, and we certainly invite anybody who is inclined to be a contributor to get involved with it. Henry, Father Henry down here has been very capably. Have you got me recorded here?
Yes, I do.
Okay. He's been recording our weekly meetings, and he's been editing them and posting them to YouTube. So if you have access to YouTube, get on there and see some of Henry's work. We have people in general throwing Facebook postings up there. Myra is particularly good at it, and she literally stops at the end of of a ramp bill that sits in her car and does an immediate posting to Facebook. But a number of people get involved with that, so I thank them for their contributions in that area. The street banner project has really been a long work in progress, and it's the only one that I'm sort of disappointed to leave it in Michelle's hands and Marissa's hands, but Michael Cox showed me a rendition of the banner this morning that is workable, and so hopefully we'll be able to shut that one down in the very near future. And lastly, as you well know, I'm the guy on the pins, and the little polio pig over there is going to get fat next year. Starting on the, what is our first meeting, the 12th? The July 12th is our first meeting next year, because we're not meeting next week. We'll be doing a pin check every week, and I've got an able band of warriors who are working with the Sergeant at Arms Committee to make sure that we do have pride in Rotary and we wear our pins. Somebody challenged me on it this morning, and I reassured them that I do have one pinned on my underwear. So, but it's been a pleasure serving you as your PR man, and I'm going to pass it off to Michelle for next year. Thank you.
Heart to heart.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Well, Jerry Parker is out of town, so he asked me to read his report for him. The club has 84 Paul Harris Fellows. We have 4 members in the Bequest Society. We have 6 major donors, that's amazing. And every Rotarian gives at least $100 or more every year, and has for quite some time with our club. Our all-time giving total is $550,333 as of 6/26/19, compared to last year of $517,82. This is the total. I think June is missing on that total, but that's a pretty good total. Jerry said to tell you all that he has had a good time being your foundation chairman this year, and he looks forward to next year in a different position. So, with that, special projects, Hector Martinez.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank the club as well as the board for supporting the golf tournament and the Patriots Ball, and all the volunteers that helped that happen. Because of that, we were able to do these special projects. Not in any particular order, but the first one up here is big, Brookwood in Georgetown. They started a honey company with some of the citizens as well as other partners in the community. Keeping bees is expensive. I do it myself. It's rewarding. And we were able to give them $4,000 to buy a big commercial extractor as well as some other items for big. CASA of Williamson County, we were able to give them $6,000. The Girl Scouts of Central Texas, the Red Poppy Unit, which is here in Georgetown, we gave them $1,000 to remodel a building that they meet in. The Guatemala Water Buckets, $534. We had a presentation from the Lions Club, if you guys remember that, when they passed out the vision screener. That was $6,600. GISD had a greenhouse project. We were able to give them $1,500. The Georgetown project for the nest, we gave them $5,000. They had a remodel going on of that building. That's where they house teens that are homeless or couch surfing. So we were able to give them some money to help them upgrade their building. The Georgetown Junior Forum, we gave $500, for Fill the Bus. Vacation Liberty School, that is going to be part of the Patriots or the Field of Honor. We funded a cargo trailer for them to store a lot of their material. They do a lot of history education in the community. So you guys will see them in the near future. American Heritage Girls, there were some Presidential Service Award patches that we helped fund. The Georgetown VFW post was $1,000. Georgetown Police Department, $4,000. Veterans Outdoors, $5,000. Honor Flight, $5,000. So the total was $42,000 $704. So thank you, guys.
That's pretty amazing, and I wanted to make sure you all saw that, where your hard-earned dollars are going in our community. Next, I've asked Michael Douglas to come forward, please. He's going to give the fundraising report. Vanessa reads out of 10.
I think everyone should give yourself a hand again for all the support of these special projects that you guys have. These things take money, and I'm here for Vanessa to sort of at least provide some hard, cold numbers behind the fundraising that went on this year. And I read from Vanessa's words here. It was an honor to serve the club this year in raising funds for the club. I want to thank the committee for their diligent work in service above self. Our club's projects would not have been successful without the contributions of our major dual sponsors. But each of you have contributed your time, efforts, and funds, as well as we acknowledge each of you. Thank you so much for participating to improve the lives of the children and patriots of our community. There are some numbers up there that I'll go over. Our total cash funds raised this year, $157,589. I assume that's a net number. In-kind donations, $92,318. Total contributions, $249,000. Total guests at the Patriots Ball, 450. And our golf tournament, we had 80 players and 112 attendees at the 19th hole dinner. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate that. Danny Swafford, youth programs.
So I used to have the honor of saying I spent a whole lot of y'all's money, but now we're spreading the love everywhere else. First, a short disclaimer, I am not Santa. I know Santa. So let's bring the spirit back into your little brains and let's don't ruin the aura, okay? So I know him. Okay, youth services. The things that we've accomplished this year with great support of this club financially and with a lot of personal contributions and participation. We sponsor the Interact Clubs, Georgetown, Eastview High Schools, and Forbes and Benold Middle School. We match up service projects for them. We also do teacher sponsor stipends of about $2,000 a year for the teachers that spend all that extra time with our kids. Special thanks to club sponsors Julian Grant, Elizabeth McFarland, and Jim Deucer for all that they do for the clubs. Georgetown, Eastview, and Richarte High Schools, you just got to experience in May, we give away a lot of money in scholarships. Over $22,000, and one of those scholarships is a first generation, the Hewlett Family Scholarship, Don and Patty Hewlett, and that's an ongoing through their school years. Special thanks to Wilson Morris for always teaming up with me to do that little entertainment venue. And a lot of teams of members, thank you for your selection process assistance. We honor teacher with $100 stipends each year, and we also give out a vocational scholarship if it's awarded to our club. Many of you don't know that is a district-wide competition. Joanne Douglas leads that up, and for the last 2 years, a Georgetown student has won that $5,000 scholarship to a trade or tech school. We have Rotary Scholars. We honor the top 5% of honored students. We honored 43 students this year and gave them a little gift. And then, as you saw our guest at the back, we have our Rotary Youth Leadership Award Camp, and we're sending 2 campers. We sponsor a meal. And special thanks to Larry Bingham, the chef extraordinaire, and his team that goes there every year. Georgetown Independent School District teachers. We honor teachers with recognition from the scholarship recipients. They actually give out a stipend to those teachers, we do. And then we also award a $2,000 teacher scholarship for continuing education. Early Act First Night. There's a significant share of our budget that goes to continue sponsoring those schools that participate in the Early Act First Night. And honestly, our goal is to have that program in every single GISD elementary school. It truly is. Rotaract with Southwestern University, been a little rocky. We lost our charter a couple of years ago. We're rebuilding it, so special thanks to Jim Deucer and Henry Yu for pulling those kids out. It's really tough at the college level. You guys remember college? Some of you might remember college. It's rough. I mean, it's hard to do a lot of extra stuff, but we're there for them. And then, of course, we have the group youth exchange. Our kids from Australia come every year. We get to listen to them talk a little funny, give some shows, show them around some Texas attitude, and it's a great program. American Heritage Girls, special thanks to Denise White and Amber Krakowski for, we chartered that club with our Rotary. We financially sponsor them where we can, but those ladies really knocked it out of the park with some very special first-year performance awards, actually. And then we have the Boy Scout STEM Scout program. Special thanks to Gary Zreet and Michael Douglas for their work with the Boy Scouts, not only through the Boys and Girls Club, but also with several of the middle schools as well. So again, thank you for your support. Thank you for your continued fundraising efforts, because it's really all about the kids.
Well, thank you all so much. I appreciate you coming and sharing all that information with everyone. At this time, I want to thank the volunteers that served on the board of directors and the committee chairs over the past year. I've asked Patricia Stevens if she would come forward and help me. I will never forget the first meeting I attended. Patricia Stevens welcomed me at the front door. And so I want to thank you for that. So as I call your name, if you would come forward. Now for us, Patricia's going to give you a token of my appreciation to you for all your service this year. And then when everyone's forward, we can all give our applause. So we're going to start out with past President Chris Cash, President-Elect George Lourigan, President nominee Georgianne Hewitt, Fundraising Chair Vanessa Redd, Secretary Elizabeth McFarland, Treasurer Ron Barrick, Sergeant-at-Arms Reese Buckner, Club Administration Myra Page, Membership David Masserang, Public Relations Dennis Pepin, Foundation Jerry Parker, Service Projects Hector Martinez, Youth Services Danny Swafford. And I have a few others that I would like to honor as well that are here that did a lot of work in committees for us. DAP Friends Derek McGill, Field of Honor, Jeannie Cox. Patriots Ball, Vanessa Redd. Golf Tournament, Nathan Weinstead. Social Media, Michelle Marshall. Trumpet Editor, Barbara Garland. Vocational Scholarships, Joanne Douglas. Webmaster, Brian Jameson. Interact Rotaract, Julian Grant. Interact Rotaract, Jim Deucer. Interact Rotaract and Facebook recordings, Henry Yu, and socials, Allison McKee. You all have accomplished so much this year. I'm extremely grateful for everything you've done to support me. Although some of you are retiring, I want you to know you're not completely off the hook. We're going to need you around to help us in the next year. So thank you all so much. I appreciate all that you've done for us. George Lourigan, I need you to come up here and join me if you would, please. So I'm going to read this so I don't mess up, okay? So George, you have been selected by the members of the Rotary Club to guide its affairs during the coming year as you serve as president. You have been entrusted with an important responsibility that will help shape the future of this club. So would you repeat after me? I, George Lourigan, do solemnly swear.
I, George Lourigan, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the Rotary Club of Georgetown.
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the Rotary Club of Georgetown,
and I will do the best of my ability to give support and assistance to the District Governor and Rotary International,
and I will do to the best of my ability to give support to the District Governor and Rotary International,
and I will uphold the Constitution and bylaws of this club.
and I will uphold the Constitution and bylaws of this club.
So, with that, here is your president pin and your new name tag. Congratulations. Thank you all very kindly. I'm very excited that George will be taking over today. So also with that, we have some incoming officers and directors that we would like to introduce to you all. And as I read their name, George will hand them their new pin and their new name tag, which is up here. So as I call your name, please come forward. I will be the past president. Yay. And George obviously is president. George Ann Hewitt will be president-elect. Nathan Weinstead, president nominee. Kat Phelps, secretary. Gary Brown, treasurer. Dennis Pepin, sergeant at arms. Those are your officers for next year. Your directors, George Oliver, membership. Michelle Marshall, public relations. Billy Ray Stubblefield, the Rotary Foundation. New Generations is Julian Grant. Chris Cash is Service Projects and Local Grants. Myra Page, Club Administration. And Nathan Weinstead will be doing fundraising. So, you all, you have been elected to this important position in the administration of the Rotary Club of Georgetown. This is an indication of your fellow Rotarians' confidence in all of you. They believe you will uphold the high traditions of this club and that you will give the best of your ability to execute and further the interest of this club and carry forward the objective of Rotary. Will you fulfill the responsibilities of your office to the best of your ability and in accordance with the Constitution and the bylaws of this club?
I will.
Awesome, that's the right answer. So I hereby declare the new officers and directors installed, and I will give President George the gavel.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you. I wanted to take a few minutes to introduce everyone and let them talk, but we don't have enough time and there's no reason to go through all that. I did have to put something on your table which shows a list of committee chairs that we currently have for this year. And I wanted to relate one thing that I think is vitally important, and I'm really reiterating what Karron has already said. This isn't done by one person, and one committee isn't one person. About 5 or 6 years ago, remember a gentleman named Ron Garland, who's still a member of our club. He talked about our club, and at that time our club had about 100 members. And he said, if we want to grow this club, we have to change the way we do business. At that time, the way we did business was one person was in charge of each committee. Not entirely, but for the most part, I did foundation. Someone else did membership. It was just, everything was one-person committees. He said, if we want to grow beyond 100 members, which we have steadily for the last many years, we have to change that. We have to work collectively in committees, not in individuals. And all of those committees working together. Now that's a big change for our club. And it has taken time, but we have done a tremendous job moving in that direction. There are still areas where we only have one person, and we need a committee. The goal is to have each committee of at least 5 members. So there's lots of things that can be done. By spreading it out over multiple people, then Myra may not have to spend 500 hours. Now that's an unbelievable amount of time. How many here has spent 500 hours working in Rotary this year? Karron. I believe that 100%. There is no question in my mind that she's probably spent 1,000 hours this year. Okay. No question in my mind. I have not, although I spent a lot of time, I don't really know how much. But that's the way to make a difference. So I put the different committee chairs on there. Let's talk, let's get together and give them the support they need by being a part of their committee and making a really phenomenal year, because this year is not about me, it's about every member of this club, just as Karron already stated. It wasn't about her, it's about all the people that put together and made this Rotary Club the fantastic club that it is. Thank you very, very much, and I'm truly honored and overwhelmed. No. Oh yeah, I've got to do things, don't I? I'm sorry. See, if I didn't have papers from Karron to keep me straight, I'd still be lost. So Jeannie, you have an announcement to make?
That booth for the day. So please stop by the table over there. I'll try to catch you on the way out and sign up for at least an hour or two. Whatever time you can offer, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
There you go. Your first opportunity to jump right in next Thursday. Yes, Karen's reminder that she said there's no meeting next Friday. Okay. And then ramp build will be on the 13th. That's the day after our next meeting, which is on the 12th. Don't do that part, that's already done. Are there any announcements for the good of Rotary?
Wear your pins.
Wear your pins. Thank you. See, I can be coached. Yes.
I don't think we all gave a collective applause to President.
I think that you're absolutely right. Thank you very, very much. Very remiss in doing and not saying that. Thank you, Karron. Thank you for absolutely everything. So please stand and join me in reciting the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
is it true?
Second,
is it fair to all concerned?
Third,
will it build goodwill and better friendship?
And fourth,
will it be beneficial to all concerned?
We are adjourned. And thank you for your notes, Karron.